what's up everybody? I go by the name of Lution and I'm not rolling alone today. Shout out to Snini Nini for having me here. I got Catherine Grenfell, the radio legend. Bum, 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 bum. I had to hook up my own SFX.
It's brilliant.
How are you?
It was very good.
Thank you
Good.
so
How
much.
are you?
Thank you so much. I want us to take it back, Catherine, from when the radio bug bit you. What was happening and
Sure.
why did you follow radio?
So I was always a radio fan growing up. I used to listen to radio. I never thought of it as a career at all. I studied lighting and sound, and I was producing and event management and all of that. And then a friend of mine was working for a presenter on the breakfast show at 5FM, and she said, "Listen, I'm leaving. Do you want to apply?" So I was like, "Hey, I'm always in for new direction, new careers and that sort of thing."
Right.
And so I met him and I took my CV and he was like, "Cool." So I started producing his show and I absolutely fell in love with radio in terms of that it was immediate, the adrenaline rush, it was only one take. So it was just so incredible. I loved the whole way it worked. At that stage, radio was very male dominated and they were trying to get their female numbers up.
Yeah.
And so they started getting more female presenters and co-hosts, and they interviewed a whole bunch of women for that particular show because it was all just guys. And eventually the main presenter was like, "Actually, we're just going to use Catherine."
Wow.
And I was like, what? I mean, I'd spoken once or twice on the show, but I was really behind the scenes. And he's like, "No, you're a single mom, you're young, you're a female, you speak to a lot of different people, you're just real, like everything is natural for you, there's no hidden faces and you're not hiding behind anything." And so that was where I started being on air, and I've always had a passion for local music.
Right.
So from when I was still in school, I would go and watch bands, save up to go and watch any international band that was coming out, and I was passionate. It came through on air, and so they realized that we needed a platform for local music, and so they gave me a live platform where I had a live studio audience and the band performed live, and so that was where the huge radio bug totally bit. Yes.
Yo, that's a movie right there. Now, since we speak in radio, I want to find out, because we're living in an age where traditional radio is intimidated by, I'd say, internet radio.
Yeah.
So would you say, in your opinion, that eventually FM will die?
I don't think FM is ever going to die.
Okay.
Definitely not in a country like South Africa and third world countries. There will always be a place for FM and AM radio. The reality is that the majority of the country don't have access to data. And radio is their lifeline, and I think that that's an incredible thing. I think that it's just evolved with the fact that we now have the option for digital. And it's exciting. It's an exciting time because you can still access commercial radio, you can still access talk radio, and now you have the option to access radio that doesn't have that commercial format, that people can do things differently, can do what they want, they can talk about what they want, they have that freedom. And I think that it's like anything, you still have that radio medium, and it's just evolving into different.
Extension of some
absolutely,
sorts.
yeah.
Nice.
So that's my take on it. I definitely don't think that radio is going to die.
That's right. And one thing that I admire about you is that you are selfless in the sense that, because some people just with the expertise, they keep it to themselves and do their job, and like, yo, these are industry secrets.
Yes.
As opposed to you like selfless. You're also a lecturer at Boston Media House. You share the knowledge, you share the wisdom. What made you feel like, you know what, is it your upbringing or how you wired for you to be like, you know what, I want to share my knowledge with students, with the come-ups, because that's the next generation?
You know, I think it's just being extremely grounded about things.
Right.
The fact that I was a student, I had hardships, I've been through things, and the reality is that when I was given this gift of a platform, I realized I had to do more with that. So it wasn't just entertaining people on the radio. It was the fact that I had this platform, and obviously your brand grows in terms of social media, and what are you going to do with that knowledge, and what are you going to do with that platform? So I've always been heavily involved in charity work, because I think it's you've got this voice, you're able to let people know what's happening and maybe change people's lives, and I think that's important. And then I just really fell into the teaching thing. A friend of mine asked me to give a class at a different campus, and I went and I was like, oh, I don't know if teaching is my thing.
That was the first time?
Yeah, that was the first time, and it was, I think it was at the Academy of Sound Engineering, and I went there and I absolutely loved it. I loved the fact that I had this interaction with students, and I had this interaction with young minds, and I realized that I cannot keep this knowledge. You cannot be a person that wants to take it to the grave with you.
Right.
That we have to help build the younger generation, and for me that has become more important than any work that I'm actually doing. So teaching at Boston, I've started these master classes for that are for free for young musicians, because a lot of these musicians they work out how to make a track, and then they don't know what the next steps are.
Yeah,
they don't know the lingo of compression or what the tempo, etc. So I've started these master classes with people that have the knowledge and that are willing to give that knowledge. And I think that beyond anything, just seeing these young people succeed and giving them the tools to succeed, because the reality is that we're all going to get old. I can't expect myself to stay on a youth station for the rest of my life. We've got to move, and young people have to come in, and for me the passion of radio has always been there, in terms of that celebrities that are hosting radio shows is eventually going to fall away, and new young people, I do. Wow. I truly believe that new young people are going to come into those roles that are actually passionate about radio, that are radio people. Because radio people are very different to everyone else.
That's true.
So I'd rather equip those young people to have success, and I have the biggest passion for South Africa, and in that passion comes the change from the youth. And that is what I want to see. I want to see this country totally succeed. I want to see the young people succeed, and we can only do that. And if I am that example of giving my knowledge, then those people that I'm teaching will hopefully, it'll instill in them that they then for the next generation have to give their knowledge.
Word, that's powerful. Like, I'm sitting here like blown away, because I'm a radio student myself, and actually I am a product of her tutor, I want to talk about that tutor strand in your DNA, in the sense that do you happen to learn as you speak? Because sometimes it happens that with the knowledge that you share, you never know how much of it you know until you share it.
Absolutely.
And as you share it, you actually learn more. So does that occur with you?
Yeah, totally that. And also memories. As I'm talking, I'll go through, like beforehand, I'll go through the lecture to make sure that I know what I'm talking about, just get my head around it. But I've always been a person that just speaks freely about things. So I will talk about something that I've made notes on, and then it'll like spark a memory of an example of that. And I think that that's where most of the students actually learn, is through the example, because the example then they can actually envision it, what I'm talking about. And often, in any subject, there's all these terms and like silly language that sometimes you just can't grasp it without an example. So it's very free flowing. Like, I will never plan, I'm going to use this example, but once I've read through what the actual lecture is going to be about, it like all these little memories come up. And I'll often find that, even because I teach the same class twice to different students, in the first class I'll use examples and I'll possibly use those, but then suddenly another memory has sparked, say overnight, that matches that. So it's very much a free flow, and I try and make it way more interactive with the students. I think that is so important. I want them to have a voice. I want to interact with that voice, and really have these discussions, and through those discussions becomes like great content, and people will actually start remembering what they have to do.
Nice. I want us to deviate a little bit from the radio, but it's still in the context of music. I see you doing big things with Opikopi.
So Opikopi,
tell me more about that.
Opikopi has been like my favorite festival forever. I have lots of festivals. I mean, to me, that's one of the most amazing things, is to go to a music festival. But Opikopi, there's just something about that festival, and I've seen it over the years. It was a very white festival, And over the years, it's just changing, and it's so exciting to see all these black young kids coming to the festival. And it just shows me that things are evolving, and that's where we want to be. In any music sphere is where we are all coming together for the love of music, because music knows no boundaries.
That's very true.
It doesn't even matter what language it's in. Music moves you.
That's right.
And festivals is the place where you have these feelings for the music, and at the same time the person next to you is having feelings for the music, and that electricity is all coming together into this explosion of amazingness at a festival. So Oppikoppi has always been very close to my heart. I've emceed there for many, many years, and I've been DJing for a very long time, and this year I decided to sort of change things up in terms of DJing, and I got a friend of mine who's a drummer. He's been in a lot of rock bands, and he was also excited to start a new project. So the two of us decided that we were going to do a new project where I DJ and he drums, and it's very like music across the board. We'll play kwaito, we'll play hip-hop, we'll play pop tracks, we'll play a little bit of rock tracks, but it all just comes together is where I see the love of music going, you know, that it's not genre specific, and it's just beautiful, great music. And so I was lucky enough to perform as Punk and Roll this year on the stage. So I've been emceeing for many years, but this is the first year that I actually performed.
What? Yeah. You know, you're giving me like, I'd say, movie of answers, because I'm having questions here, and then you jump onto the next question. I'm like, but it's all good because I'm really enjoying it as you speak. Kath, I just want to take time to thank you for everything coming through here for Snini Nini. And beyond that, I just want to wish you nothing but the best, and may you be blessed with more life to your years and more years to your life.
Thank you so much. That is so beautiful, and it's such an honor to be on here. And as I said, you know, to see my students succeed, and to see them doing things, and them remembering certain things that I've said in class. When you do an interview, listen to the person and the questions.
That's true.
I can see it happening right here. So my work is done.
It is. Any last words before you wrap it up?
I think just stay true to yourself.
Sorry to cut you off. I just realized how corny that question is.
No.
Wait. Look at it like this. I want to switch it up in the sense that it's more interesting for our people out there.
Cool.
Look at it like this. If you had, I'd say, if you had a chance to sit down with 13-year-old Kath to give her advice in life or the industry or whatever, what would you say real quick?
I would say...
That was good. Right?
That was very good. That was very good. 10 marks. I would say, question things.
Okay.
Don't just take everything that teachers, your parents say at face value. Really start doing your own research and find out what you, in your heart, feel is right. And I would also say, don't constantly think about what other people think of you. You know, I reached 40, and just before I reached 40, I was suddenly like, I didn't care about what other people thought of me. And I wish I'd known that. I wish I did that before. You know, we constantly thinking like, what are people thinking? Like, am I doing the right thing? And as long as you're true to yourself, I think that's the best thing. And lastly, find yourself and be that person. You know, stick to your guns in what you believe. Don't try and be somebody else. Really just be who you were meant to be.
Wow, Kathy, thank you so much. That's Catherine Grenfell out here on Snini Nini. I go by the name of Lution. We're going to have to love you and leave you. Peace. Make sure you subscribe. Hey, make sure you subscribe.
Subscribe.